Okay, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to kick off our city council portion of this municipal forum this evening. So good evening, everybody. I'm Katie D'Agostino, President and CEO of the Central Connecticut Chambers of Commerce. And on behalf of our Joint Economic and Legislative Committee, I want to thank you for joining us this evening. Tonight, you'll have the opportunity to hear from City Council and mayoral candidates as they address issues that impact business, community, and residents of the City of Bristol. Before we begin, I would like to ask if you are able, can you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? The flag is over to the side. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to extend a thank you to Bames Rockwell Theater for hosting us this evening, and for the American School for the Deaf for providing the American Sign Language interpreters for tonight's event. Additionally, not everyone is able to attend in person, so our friends from Nutmeg TV are filming this forum, which will air Thursday, October 30th at 8 p.m. And it could also be found on Nutmeg TV's YouTube channel across Comcast Channel 5 or 1080 and Frontier Channel 6060. It is now my pleasure to turn the podium over to tonight's moderator, Vice Chair of the Central Connecticut Chamber of Commerce Board, Chris Hires.
There we go. It might be the last time you clap tonight, so thank you. I know for those of you in the back that can't see real well, you wondered how Katie's budget afforded David Muir to do this tonight. We only look alike. We're not experienced alike. Thank you all for being here. Some ground rules. The Chambers is the Chambers Forum, so we ask that you do no signs, disruptions. Please turn off your cell phones to silent. No flash photography. Please hold your applause to the end. Because this is a Chamber-sponsored event, most of the questions are business-related, economic development, taxes, the business environment, employment, workforce. We know there's a lot of issues. Those are our issues. We want to stick there. The candidates listed alphabetically and by district. We have had a really sophisticated process by which we decided which district goes first, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Each candidate will be given the same question and have 90 seconds to answer, and we will rotate it around. We have as many as 10 questions. Andrew LaForge is back there taking bets on how many we actually get through if you'd like to participate in the Chamber fundraiser. Strict timetable for answers. When that light goes red, I am going to cut you off. I know you guys will do great, it's no problem, but we want to get everybody in. Questions have been determined on the lottery. Did anybody get the questions in advance? It's poor Jennifer here with her note card. She was like, my note cards match up with any of these questions? I go, if I can read those note cards, absolutely not. So with that, we will get started. Earlier we had a discussion about UConn basketball and favorite players. My favorite answer came from Peter, correct? Nice. So District 2 will go first with the first question. Before that, if you would, we'll break the rule one time, and please offer your applause and thank these guys for being here tonight. All right, we will.
We initially start with an opening statement.
Right, we're going to start with opening statements. Each of you has 90 seconds. If we could just start in District 2. And work our way around, and then each time we come to the district, you guys can let somebody new start off, if that makes sense. It's a lot of you. I look forward to the next hour when I just got 2 of them. I can keep it straight. So with that, if District 2's candidates would like to start your opening statements, the timer's on.
Sure, thank you. My name is Peter Kelly. I'm running for the City Council again in District 2. I served 2 terms previously. And I'm running. I was apprehensive about doing it. I thought I was done. I found out I wasn't done. And I'm running because I'm passionate about public service. I really believe our team can make a difference, which helped me in my decision to run again. And I've recently announced, to underline my passion for public service, that if elected, I'm going to donate my salary to a service group here in town. I've spoken to the Agape House. I've spoken to the Bristol Boys and Girls Club, and I've spoken to the senior center. So once again, if I win, I'm going to donate that money, and it will be determined when and if that happens, who will be the beneficiary of the money. I'm hopeful to be able to make a real difference in someone's life, and hopefully that money should do that. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Tagriello, and I am seeking a seat for City Council in the 2nd District. I'm a lifelong Bristol resident. I've raised 2 beautiful children here. My daughter, Natalie, is a senior at University of St. Joseph's, where she studies nursing, and my son, Gavin, is a freshman at Bryant University, where he's studying finance. I married my best friend almost 2 years ago, and we reside in the nursery section of Chippiness Hill. We have 4 French bulldogs, 3 of whom we rescued, and 2 of whom are terrorists, so if you live in the vicinity, I apologize. I've worked in private practice as a pediatric dental hygienist for over 25 years, and I have my undergraduate degree in workforce education and development from Southern Illinois University. I served 10 years on the Board of Education, with my last 4 chairing the board. While managing the board, my goals were improving student outcomes, implementing budgets that would maximize growth in the district while minimizing the increase to taxpayers, and fostering relationships between teachers, administrators, parents, and partnering with city leaders. Under my leadership, the Board of Ed never ran a deficit. Schools not only survived, but thrived after the COVID pandemic, with student growth surpassing all of our contiguous towns. Public service is important to me, and it starts with public engagement and collaboration. As a council member, I would make it a priority to ensure that all residents are not only heard, but actively included in shaping the policies that affect their daily lives.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up will be Sue Tyler. Just in the case you have not noticed, Jackie Olson is not here because I guess she's really under the weather, and we appreciate her not bringing that to us. Sue is going to deliver Jackie's opening and closing, but not answer questions for her. So you'll have to tell us who you are at any moment when you're speaking.
So this one's for Jackie, correct?
This one's for Jackie.
Okay. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event. My name is Jackie Olson, and I am one of 2 city councilors representing District 2. I apologize that I am unable to be in person this evening. My professional background consists of more than 40 years of experience in business, administration, insurance, and finance. Helping people has always been what I do best. Over the last 4 years, I have served on various committees. I currently serve on the Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Public Works, Water and Sewer Boards, Retirement Board, Park and Rec, and the Edgewood Building Committee. Being a part of these boards has been a wonderful learning experience. I believe that I have been successful in fulfilling part of my duties by resolving constituent issues whenever possible. I am proud to have had solar-powered flashing lights installed at the intersection of Willis Street and East Road. I also assisted a family in replacing their furnace through the housing rehab program just before the freezing weather set in. As a team, we have been successful in moving Bristol from a city lacking visibility to the city that is finally awake and vibrant. We saved the hoppers for current and future generations. Revitalization of our parks is moving forward, and the results are amazing. There is much more to accomplish, and I hope you will give me another 2 years. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Switch hats. Now be yourself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sue Tyler, City Councilwoman in District 2. As a City Councilwoman, I have had the honor to serve and to protect not only the 2nd District, but also the entire city of Bristol for the last 4 years. I would like to thank the Chamber for putting on this event together. As a Chamber member, I appreciate the value that you add to Bristol's economic development and success. A little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. I am a most of my life resident of Bristol and a public servant. I am a wife, mother, fur mom, and my most recent title, I'm a grandmother now. I am a daughter raised by business-owning parents who became their child labor at age 10, worked and waited at various small mom-and-pop businesses, and then spent almost 3 decades as a law enforcement officer. Currently, I am a broker-owner of a Bristol-based real estate company, selling and cheerleading for Bristol every single day. I am also involved in many small business groups looking to improve the commerce environment. In my free time, I am a very strong advocate for our homeless population and finding solutions to address that. And I also offer support to many other various local nonprofits. My focus for 4 years has been quality of life, and I look forward to tonight discussing some of what I've done in the 4 years with you.
Great, thank you. Let's move over to District 3.
Good evening. My name is Steve Cohen. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the Chamber for hosting this event. I'm a Republican, and it wasn't that long ago that that used to be a dirty word in Bristol. But Bristol has changed. Bristol is no longer a blue city. And I have stayed out of local politics for a long time, and I found that I was most effective behind the scenes. And people have asked me, well, why would you get back involved now and run for office again? And the simple answer is this, folks. Bristol is on the upswing. It's exciting. We can see it. We can feel it. Finally, after so many years of stagnancy, we can see this. Bristol is on the upswing, and it's because of this Republican team and Mayor Caggiano. They have made Bristol a place to be excited about again. It wasn't like that not so long ago. And you're going to hear two very different versions of the state of the city tonight. And I'm going to leave this up to you to decide which is most accurate. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Dickow, and I'm proud to represent District 3 on Bristol City's Council. I am a lifelong resident of Bristol, but also a lifelong resident of District 3. I currently reside in Forestville with my wife, Melissa, and our dog, Alfie, and I am proud to call Forestville my home. I hold a bachelor's degree in healthcare administration and currently work for a company that contracts with CMS under the federal government. Over the last 15 months since being elected, I worked hard to make sure that that win meant something real for the people of Bristol. I've been fighting for traffic safety, pushing for red light cameras and speed cameras to help protect our neighbors. Now, to be honest with you, that can only be installed with the approval from Connecticut DMV, and their regulations are stringent. I've been working closely with my current board assignments of real estate and economic development to bring new energy and investment into Forestville and beyond. We're building on great momentum already here, and the renovation of New Cheese by Luna's and the opening of the House of Barbecue and Bacon, these local successes show what's possible when we believe and invest in our community. Beyond those boards, I also work for Public Works, Ordinance, Salary, Energy, Diversity, and Southside HVAC. Under the Energy Commission plan for energy solutions, we're helping residents and business.
All right, thank you. Hopefully we'll get some of it later. Mr. Seymour.
How you doing? How you doing? I'm Steve Seymour. I'm a local resident of Bristol for over 40 years. I own multiple businesses here in town. One is a media company, real estate photography company, and I own a business podcast helping small businesses grow and thrive. I am also a big family man. I'm married to a teacher she's been teaching for over 35 years, so I know the whole thing about the Bristol Board of Ed and the problems that they have. I have 4 beautiful grandkids. I believe that in preservation, the character of the city, the growth of the city, I'm new to politics, but I believe that my background in business can contribute to the success of Bristol.
Great, thank you. Cheryl?
Yes, good evening and welcome all. I'm Cheryl Tebow, and I decided to run for re-election because I believe our community deserves that voice that provides strong representation, practical solutions, listens, and delivers. Over the past few years, I've been an advocate, a friend to those in my district and citywide. I've seen both our community's potential and the challenges we face. I want to highlight some projects I've worked on. First, we transformed this Rockwell Theater into a vibrant, accessible space for creativity and connection. After 2 years of operation, we've broken even, which is uncommon for such a new venue. As a member of the Arts and Culture Commission and a frequent volunteer here, I'm proud of what we built for all ages, especially those young at heart. We've taken major steps in building a new animal control facility. It isn't just about animals. It's about public safety, health, and compassion. Our current facility no longer meets modern standards, and there are mandated changes by the state we must comply with in 2029. The new design will provide for faster response times, better sanitation, and a more welcoming space that supports higher adoption rates. We've built a new firehouse and procured a ladder truck in Forestville. With the proceeds from cannabis sales, we've brought on 2 certified wellness officers to help those struggling with addiction or homelessness. A goal of mine is to see an ambulance in Forestville before the end of this next term. Together, we're making this city not only more livable, but more lovable. And thank you for your support.
Thank you. Let's move over to District 1. Mr. Hahn, it's all yours.
Hi, I'm Greg Hahn. I'm running for City Council in the 1st District. I served 2 terms on City Council, working on many committees where we achieved real positive change, even while facing a major storms, pandemic, and other challenges. Our responses to the citizens of Bristol were thoughtful, deliberate, and provided solutions, whether it was creating the Opioid Task Force, the Diversity Council, or the Arts and Culture Commission, the Design for Downtown. We consistently thought outside the box to find practical and effective ways to meet the needs of the community. We are measured by our results. We planned carefully so that our downtown vision could become a reality, and it has. We managed spending responsibly while maintaining our commitments and kept the average tax increase over 4 years to just 3%. In the last 4 years, we've seen the city budget balloon by $18 million, causing an average tax increase of 27%. This has got to stop. Me and the rest of the Democrats are ready to start on day one. We will put the same practices back in place that kept Bristol moving forward and affordable under the Ellen Zappo-Sassu administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for the Chamber for hosting. My name is Eric Rosengren. I'm proud to serve as a City Councilman in District 1. I'm a community I call home for my entire life. From the earliest days, I've been deeply committed to giving back to Bristol. Before joining the City Council, I served on the Board of Assessment Appeals, where I helped to ensure fair property evaluations for residents. As a Commissioner of the Housing Code of Appeals Board, I advocated for safe and equitable housing standards. I also contributed to the Esser Art School Building Project Committee and focusing on modernizing our education facilities amid challenging times. Beyond that, I've been dedicated member of the Youth and Community Services Board, supporting programs that empower young people, and the Northeast Building School Board, where I work to enhance student experience. Today, I continue my service on the Public Works Board, overseeing essential infrastructure improvements. As a liaison to the Board of Ed, Housing Authority, and Fair Rent, roles that allow me to address key issues like education, affordable housing, and community fairness. These experiences have taught me the value of listening attentively, acting decisively. As your councilman, I've championed initiatives that strengthen our neighborhoods, from youth development and public safety, economic growth. I am here to ensure that every voice in District 1 is heard, including all of the city as well. And together, we can keep Bristol thriving for generations to come. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Jennifer?
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here this evening. My name is Jennifer St. John, and I'm proud to be running for City Council. I'm a lifelong Bristol resident, a parent of 3 boys, and someone who truly believes in the power of community. I love our city, and I'm running because I want to see our our community to continue to grow and thrive and remain a place where every person and family can succeed. For years, I've dedicated myself to advocating for children and families through various volunteer opportunities, like passing out books for children at the Rockwell Summer Concerts. I've also helped organize a community-wide tag sale that benefited the Agape House. Through my work in various committees, I've seen firsthand how powerful it is when people come together to create positive change. I want to see growth of our downtown continue. I want to bring in more family-friendly businesses and entertainment options so families don't have to leave Bristol to have fun with their kids. At the same time, Bristol's growing demographic is in their 20s and 30s, and they deserve vibrant local options too, like nightlife and gathering spaces that make people want to stay and build their futures here at home. My goal is to keep Bristol growing by supporting local businesses, encouraging new investments. In doing this, I will be creating a reliable tax base that funds the services that families depend on, all while protecting the money that's in our pockets. Bristol's my home, and together I think that we can keep it strong and move in the right direction.
Great, thank you. Mr. Wynn, you've waited a long time. Tell us about yourself.
Good evening. My name is Dwayne K. Wynn Jr., and I'm running to represent District 1. I'm a proud product of this community. I went to O'Connell Elementary, Chippens Hill Middle School, and I spent my afternoons at Bristol Boys and Girls Club. I later attended Capital Prep Magnet School, a social justice school, where my senior social justice project was focused on revitalizing the Mather Street neighborhood by pushing for penalties on blighted homes. That's where public service started for me. I went on to earn my bachelor's degree in economics with a minor in entrepreneurship, a master's in international studies focused on economic development and sustainability from Central Connecticut State University. I also have my accounting certificate from Cornell University. Over the years, I worked as a financial advisor, led data analytics departments, and coached semi-professional basketball. Today, I serve as the Director of Home Ownership and Programs for Habitat for Humanity of Eastern Connecticut, after first serving as Director of Finance and Accounting, where I manage a $7 million budget to make sure every dollar had an impact. Now I focus on helping families move from renters to homeowners through financial education, training, and opportunity. You should vote for me because I understand how decisions made at City Hall reach all the way to the kitchen table. I've built programs that lift people up, not price them out. I know how to balance budgets while still investing in people in progress. My priorities are clear.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes the first round. We'll now move to some of the Chamber's questions, starting in District 3. Ask Mark, do you go first, and then rotate it around your folks. The question that we want to go to first is one that's always on the top of the Chamber's agenda, economic development. And in particular, what we're looking to hear from each of you is for your identity of a top economic development issue in your district and what you can do in your role about it. Mark?
For top economic development in District 3, we are actually just starting to grow the center of Forestville, with Nucci's being renovated and opening of the new barbecue and bacon. Now, we do have a lot of open storefronts within Forestville that we need to fill, but that is currently being worked on through the economic development. We also need to invest in our industrial parks. We do have some of the property that has been sold, that is going to be, there are going to be companies that are going to be moving in. But for us to attract new businesses to Bristol, the town should aim to be ready for infrastructure, available sites, and workforce, to be attractive, good quality of life, competitive cost, and have business-friendly policies. Be differentiated, a clear value proposition, market itself, support relocation, and local growth, and also use,
Thank you. I just note that you twice brought up barbecue. You do it a third time, we're leaving early for dinner, okay?
I think they're closed. They only open.
They're only open every time it comes out of your mouth. So, all right, let's move forward to Steve. Second Steve. Yeah, we'll just rotate around. Thank you. Sorry to call you second Steve.
I'm the second Steve. Okay.
I know I had two Steves over there.
All right, so as far as economic development, I believe that we should be filling some of the vacant commercial buildings that we already do have. Those can be filled and start working with the infrastructure that we already have rather than building new infrastructure, which is good also, but it's also taking away the character of Bristol, which I love. and that's what I'm running on. We can do this probably by talking to landlords and see if we can figure out on how to fill those spaces with new businesses and by offering property incentives and stuff like that. Also, I believe in growing the grand list, which provides a lot of the monies to run all these programs, and developing Forestville, downtown Forestville, that needs to be overhauled basically, and the industrial parks need to be filled with. There's a lot of buildings that I see that are vacant in those also.
Great, thank you. Cheryl?
Yes, thank you. I first want to talk about some of the successes in the Southeast Business Park. We've brought on 4 companies: Forced Automation, All-Star Driving, Amco Precision, and Horizon Natural Stone. So these businesses are in the Southeast Business Park. In addition, there are 2 that are expanding. But Forestville is my home. I've been a lifelong member, well, not lifelong, since I've moved to Connecticut, of the Forestville Village Association. We meet monthly. We talk about the community and what we want to see. The Sessions Building on East Main Street was recently sold and will be redeveloped. The change of new cheese, and we want to see Forestville develop, and that is a goal. But I also have Federal Hill. And so we want to see those businesses that are on Federal Hill become vibrant and succeed. And I'll tell you one thing I want to put a stop to, and I am going to be working in ordinance to stop the addition and pilferation of smoke and vape shops and set some clear guideline rules around this, because that's not the businesses that we want in our community. Oh, am I done, or I got more?
Yellow means you got a few more seconds.
30 seconds. Okay. So, you know, one of the things that is real important is our ECD department does have a lot of programs. One of the most important programs they have right now is the low-interest forgivable loans. So after a business is paid off 50% of their loan, the balance can be forgivable. This shows that this business has been successful. They've hired people. And so we want them to stay. We want them to continue to prosper. There's also the spa. Whoops,
All right,
now I'm
now
done.
you're done.
Thank
You very much. We'll rotate back through District 3. Mr. Cohn?
Yes, thank you. As far as economic development, honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. I think this administration is on the right track. I see positive change all the time in the downtown and in the center of Forestville. So as far as that goes, I really wouldn't change anything. What I would do, and this is coming from my background a little bit, is, and I've worked on this most of my adult life, is blighted buildings. And, you know, as development and as investment comes into the city, you're going to see blighted buildings generally sometimes get developed and they don't become an issue anymore. And we've seen that in a few places. But there are times, and believe me, I'm a conservative, I believe in limited government. But there are times when the city has to step in and take down bad buildings. And that kind of thing can foster economic development and get rid of unsightly buildings in the city. People are not going to come to an area where they feel unsafe. They need to feel safe and comfortable wherever they're going. So that's something I think we need to work on. There's some pockets of here and there, some areas of Bristol that I think need attention in that regard. But other than that, no. I think everything is going well with economic development, and I'm very proud of this administration.
Great, thank you. We'll move to District 1 and ask Mr. Rosengren to go first. We'll do the same wraparound, unless we don't give him a microphone.
Thank you. In District 1, what I'm seeing is I want to start filling a lot of the open buildings with new businesses. And I think a good way to do that is we're doing a lot of renovations on our parks, which attract families and attract people to Bristol. Now, the problem we're having is we don't have enough housing. So what I want to work to do is find new and creative ways to make new housing that's affordable to people. So with that, we're doing a lot of infrastructure as well with, like Eversource is putting in brand new, and nobody likes it because they're digging up our roads, but they're putting in a lot of new natural gas lines that are going to help these new businesses and make things more affordable, hopefully, or at least more efficient. Now, we're also proud that we're having the new medical building on Route 6 across from Walmart. We had brought in the Chick-fil-A, we brought in the car wash, and the ProHealth physicians. That used to be farmland, which brought in almost no tax revenue at all. This property is going to bring in immediate taxes, so that should help our tax base as well. Thank you.
All righty.
I think it's important, like Cheryl said, to highlight the positive things that are happening in Bristol. One of the big things is the area on Route 6 where Chick-fil-A and Platinum Car Wash and Pro Health is. I think that has been a huge improvement for Bristol. That is something that we collected little over $200 a year in taxes from, and those buildings are bringing in immediate tax revenue for us as a city, which is essentially helping our pockets, right? Another thing is, actually today there was a ribbon cutting ceremony for Mafali's Plaza. That is, in my opinion, one of the quickest turnarounds where we've seen a sad thing where the building burned down and it, within a year, is being turned around and built back up by the owner, and that is going to be condos and apartments for healthcare workers, which helps bring them into Bristol and helps keep our businesses going. We want Bristol Health to stay. We need those employees, but they need some place to live while they're here. So I think it's, again, positive to highlight those things that we are continuing to do in Bristol and hope to continue in the future. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Dwayne?
When you drive down Route 6, you see too many storefronts and unused properties that have been sitting for years. Those vacancies don't just hurt how the city looks, they hurt the grand list. We're losing tax revenue when these buildings stay empty. As a counselor, I focus on revitalizing that starts with what's already standing. That means working directly with commercial landowners along Route 6 to fill vacancies, improve curb appeal, and make sure new developments are planned responsibly, because growth only happens when it's managed right. We've seen what happened when it isn't. The city had to pay more than $1 million on a failed project that was built on aquifers. I want to strengthen how our city manage land use and planning so developers get clearer information up front and we can avoid costly errors. Beyond Route 6, there's also opportunity to repurpose older buildings like the empty churches throughout the district into housing, small business spaces, or community hubs. Every time we breathe new life into a property, we grow the grand list and create opportunities without rising taxes. The goal isn't just for growth's sake, it's smart. Sustainable growth that respects our neighborhoods, supports our local businesses, and help build Bristol, a Bristol that we're proud of. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We'll move to District 2. Jennifer, you go first.
Excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate that.
My pleasure.
The good thing about something like this, nobody will ever let me skip them, so thank you.
Our district is bordered by Route 6, and I agree with Dwayne. We need to manage the commercial growth along this stretch of road and work to cut down the number of vacancies. Commercial vacancies are a sore point for us. There are taxes we don't collect, and some have been vacant for a very long time. Now, whether it's our small local shops, family-owned businesses, or larger shopping plazas, we have road access cuts on Route 6 that come with it are affecting traffic flow, and safety is a concern. So we have to take a look at that as well. And again, it's frustrating to see projects like the vacant oil change business across from True Value, which ended up costing Bristol $1.4 million in a lawsuit because of mistakes in the planning process. We have to do better. That means tightening up how the city reviews plans and make sure developers get clear information from the start so we don't waste time or taxpayer money on lawsuits. By managing growth and building stronger relationships with business and property owners along Route 6, we can cut down on vacancies, improve safety, and create a more welcoming district.
Thank you. And again, our apologies for nearly skipping you. Let's come to District 2. Jennifer, you've had 90 seconds advance warning that you were going first, so go ahead.
Okay, so I would say that unlocking the potential of underinvested areas while ensuring that growth is sustainable and benefits the entire community. The Route 72 corridor represents one of the city's ripest opportunities for long-term growth. When elected, I am eager to explore realigning and refocusing the junctions of Route 69 and 72. I would like to see new businesses encouraged and helping small startups become brick-and-mortar establishments, while also focusing on continuing to support the great small businesses that are around there. And I think of Tafika Arts, Southside Meat Market, and Valley Shoe Repair as a few of those. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue?
Let me start by saying I think economic development is thriving in Bristol. And I'm not going to stand here and say that one person or certain people take credit for it, but it is fact, it is reality. This is what I see every single day because I am out there showing our properties, whether it be our homes or our commercial properties. Bristol is thriving. We have gotten into a good groove. Economic development is growing. And I see that in all the different areas. District 2, you ask about my particular district, we're primarily residential, but we do have our businesses. And I see business owners expanding and taking on second locations here in Bristol. I see business owners investing money in renovations of current storefronts. We're doing something right. And that's not just us, the elected officials, that's everyone here in Bristol. And part of that, I'll just tag team on what Steve said. This administration has put a lot of emphasis on code enforcement and improving quality of life issues. And that is all leading to the desirability to come and live in Bristol, do your business in Bristol, and play in Bristol. So I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Great, thank you. Peter?
Yes, thank you. Insofar as economic development is concerned, I find it interesting, Mr. Cohen, that you said you wouldn't change a thing, because that is very telling, because the Caggiano administration, the first time around, inherited 10 projects on a silver platter. So he didn't change a thing. So you just reinforced that for us, and thank you for that. Insofar as economic development in the 2nd District, I think one of the keys is to plug in the right tools effectively and equitably, ensuring that all business get the same attention. The West End, as Jen touched on, the realignment with that, Route 69 and 72, and along with that, we need to refine and publicize existing businesses and incentive programs and streamline regulations to simplify and lower costs for businesses. We also need to provide targeted assistance for marketing and consultation for small business and elevate Bristol's profile just to let them know that we are open for business. And I wish things were going as well as they're being touted, because then the grand list would have grown and taxes would not have risen.
Thank you. Wait.
Thank you.
Next, we got rules, no applause until we're done. We'll start next in District 1. Jennifer, you will go first, and then we'll work it around that way. The question is, you are running for a position to be the representative of the people. How will you involve residents in your district in your decision-making process?
I think the biggest thing is listening to the people, having an open forum and an open line of communication where they can contact you and reach you, and letting the constituents know in District 1 that I am here for them. I am hoping to serve you guys, and this isn't me making decisions, this is a collaborative thing, but your input is what matters. I think that really being out there, and if you have a problem, I can go to you, you can talk about it, I can do my best to solve it, and if I can't solve it, I have a team behind me that would be able to help me solve it. I think that, again, like I said, I would be here for you guys, so.
Great, thank you. Dwayne?
Leadership starts with listening. The people who live in our neighborhoods know Bristol best, and they should always have a say in the decisions that shapes their lives. Too often, residents only hear about changes after they already happen, and that's where it starts to break down, basically. If elected, I want to change that. I plan to hold regular community meetings where residents can ask questions, share ideas, and stay informed before votes are made. We can also use surveys, social media, and neighborhood newsletters to make sure information reaches everyone, not just those who could make it to City Hall. But I also believe in engagement has to be, on a personal level. During the campaign, we've knocked on doors across District 1, having real conversations with people about what matters to them, and I don't think that should stop after Election Day. Even if it's once a month, council members should be out walking a few streets, a couple times a week, or once a month, knocking on doors to check in. It's best to stay connected, to hear concerns early, and to remind people that their voice matters. Good leadership isn't just about showing up at meetings, it's about showing up for people. If we keep those conversations going year-round and not only just during this election, we can make city government something residents feel a part of, not something that just happens to them. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Greg?
Community involvement is actually exactly how we get things done. We have to listen. Open door policy. Quite honestly, for voters, non-voters, Republicans, Democrats, independents, unaffiliated, everyone needs to have a voice, and we have to keep that door open. So we do this by our presence in the public. As public officials, we should be available and go to events, not just for pictures. That is noticed. But listening, discussing the feedback, bringing it back to council, bringing it to the departments and the commissions that are in place to receive issues from the community, such as Public Works or the Real Estate Committee. We use those as our catalyst to get things done. And we encourage people to show up with their problems and to discuss those things at these committee meetings. Sometimes it takes us to take the first step, and sometimes the community or someone in the community takes the first step. But concern as citizens is our first. We need to, either way, the discussions are important. We need to get this discussions happening on a daily basis and meet people where they live, where they work, and where they congregate. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Eric?
I definitely agree with Dwayne. Usually I still knock doors even in off time. It's usually when it starts because a citizen contacts me and says, there's something wrong with my sidewalk, there's something wrong with this, or can you help me with this? I try to get there as soon as possible. And when I get there, I take pictures, I help the problem, I get it to the right department. But while I'm already out there, I might as well knock on some doors or go walk the neighborhood and see if I see anything else. And usually I'll see people out mowing the lawn or whatever they're doing. And I'll just strike up a conversation. So that's one way. But another way is, if you know me, you know I'm everywhere. I'm farmers markets, you name it. I even show up to fundraisers that I'm probably not supposed to show up to. I just show up everywhere, and I keep my ears open, and I try to keep my mouth shut to listen. I also have a fairly big social media presence, and I use that to try to share information with the community, and people can contact me there. I also go to the senior center because a lot of some of them don't have social media and things like that. So they have their spaghetti dinners, and you go there and you just sit and talk and get to know people, and then go check out when they're playing the what is it called, their paddleball thing? Pickleball. I apologize, somebody's gonna kill me for that. And just talk to them and see what's going on. So I do agree. Communication is great.
All right, thank you. We'll move to District 2. Sue, you go first.
It's just kind of a continuation of what I've done for the last 4 years and what I've done with every other aspect of my life. This is like, I can't live without this. And it's having an open door policy, having all of your constituents, residents, business owners, colleagues know that they can reach out to you at any time. I like to say I'm available 24/7. My husband doesn't like to hear that, but I do try to make myself accessible as much as I possibly can. There's only so many hours in a day. I would continue doing what I've done for 4 years. Jackie and myself, we've done forums, meet and greets. I've taught classes at the senior center. There's a need I taught personal safety for 25 years, and I go into the senior center and I teach personal safety to the seniors, and that gives me a great opportunity just to be there with them in their space and to hear their concerns and to be able to work on certain issues with them and help empower them to be able to handle some of the issues that are at hand. We do walk and talks. We get a call from a constituent about a problem in a neighborhood. We put together a couple of counselors and a department head, and we go out there and we meet with the whole entire neighborhood. And we try to give them information on solving problems. Good. Thank you.
That's okay. Peter.
I think everyone's touched on...
Let's get him a microphone.
Oh, that's right. I probably need this. Everyone's touched on what I'm going to touch on, but it's important to emphasize it. It's really an active process, listening to constituents and trying to handle their problems. But it's leaning into it, listening, really caring and empathizing. But you have to act, contact the proper party, and follow-up is a necessity, because sometimes these things do take time, and you want to make sure that you follow up and make sure that the citizen is happy and the situation has actually been resolved. Someone touched on, I think it was Eric, the farmer's market. When the Zaposasu administration was in power, we used to go to the farmer's market. We actually ran it every single week in the fall, and it really gives you a chance to talk to people one-on-one. You're accessible, and they let you know it. But that's perhaps one of the biggest parts of the job, because many people don't feel heard by the local government, and the fact that you're listening to them, caring, and following up on their concerns really makes a big difference in people's lives.
Great. Thank you. Jennifer?
Thank you. One thing that I would like to say is that once elected, campaigning stops and service starts. Any resident of District 2 would become my constituent and be worthy of my time and due diligence, regardless of party. And I think that's something everyone in the room can be excited about. The first step to addressing concerns is listening. Listening starts by building trust and also by not reacting. Ways to listen would be making myself readily available not only in phone, email, or Facebook, but by having open and accessible meetings with far enough notice in advance that any and all residents who would be interested in attending can attend. Another thing that's very important would be to gather data, identify causes, and understand policy constraints or opportunities before making promises. Oftentimes, people don't understand what is at our disposal and what's not, so I think being realistic with constituents is of the utmost importance. Researching how other cities have addressed similar challenges is something that should be looked into more. And lastly, following through with clear actions and accountability is essential. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We move to District 3. Mr. Seymour, I believe you are now batting lead off.
Oh, yay. All right. Basically, everyone has said what needs to be done, because that's the obvious. Accessibility is a huge thing, whether it's via email, community events, or public council meetings. You have to listen to their concerns and try to address them accordingly. Sometimes people have concerns to a council person, but they don't realize that there's a process that we have to go through, and we can't just make empty promises, shall I say, like some people do, and make promises that they can't keep. They have to talk to their constituents and find out if it's a possibility. Also, I would go to local businesses and find out their needs so they can streamline and run their businesses better to serve the town. Because they're, they are in the community and they hear, different things going on. Also, like the farmers market is another good event to go on, and other community events like the senior center. They have a lot to say because I've been there, and yeah, that's basically it.
Great, thank you. Cheryl?
I think you heard it. We're really called public servants, and it's about getting out there. And I think my life has been giving more than anything else. From an early age, BTA leader, I was a scout leader, I was a youth leader. involved in so many different organizations. Like I mentioned, the Forestville Village Association, we talk, they share, I find answers for them. The farmers market, we actually took it nonprofit 2 years ago, and I am their treasurer. And so we developed a doubling SNAP program, and many people can find me at the farmers market on a Saturday to talk. I'm an OMK, and we bring the OM show every year, and we facilitate fundraising for the Boys and Girls Club. A VITA volunteer, volunteer income tax volunteer. And you'll find me in the theater. I bought a Michael Jackson hat and a glove for this Saturday's show. 22 tickets still available. But it's about being out there. But secondly, I've built relationships with a lot of our department heads at City Hall. So when there is an issue and it's public works, I'm comfortable talking to Ray Rogozinski, who's the director, or I'm comfortable talking to Josh Medeiros about a park issue, because we've built a trust and a relationship, so that after talking with the constituent, I can, marry it up with City Hall and we can resolve the issue. My husband calls me the Energizer Bunny. I'm hoping that continues. I am going to retire, hopefully soon. I was supposed to retire September 5th.
All right,
but
thank you.
More time.
Thank you. Mr. Cohn.
Thank you. What I would do is I would start up my YouTube channel again. I found this a very effective tool to communicate with the public and have them communicate back and forth with me. And I just want to mention one thing. Do some of these Democrats sound angry to you? Oh, they are. You can feel it. They're angry. And you know why they're angry? Because 4 years ago, my friends, the public made a decision, a very clear decision, that these people did not need to be in office anymore. And that's what they're angry about. And they've been attacking Republicans on social media, attacking people like Cheryl Tebow. Really? This is going to make you feel better? To attack Cheryl Tebow? Okay. To attack a retired police officer? I don't get it. I really don't. Okay? I know you can be a little upset about it, but it's ridiculous. They are angry because they don't have their way anymore. They're angry because the people said, no, we need to go in a different direction. And that's what they're upset about. So just keep that in mind. As you hear this anger, especially from this side of the room, that's why they're angry.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, nope, you're not going to get through the end of this. Mr. Dickow, your answer, and if it includes barbecue, you're out.
Okay. To be completely honest with you, I'm not sure what
Can you pull the microphone a little closer?
I'm not sure what Steve Cohen is talking about. I mean, me personally, I'm not angry. I'm a Democrat. I'm on city council. I got elected a year ago by a large margin. But for what I would do for the people of Bristol is I've had people call me up or all the time. I mean, I've gotten calls on vacation while outside the country. I've talked to people while away for like half an hour at a time. But I had one person that called me up and said that he's been trying to work with the Public Works Department for the past 2 years about a tree limb that was down across the street from his house, which is on city property. This tree limb was over 6 feet long, and it was at least 5 or 6 inches around. Well, I went down there, I looked at it, and I told him I would be back later that day, which I did. I came back with my pickup truck, I picked it up, I threw it in the back of my truck, brought it to the dump for him, just because he wasn't getting any success through the city. But one other thing that I've done is some of the business I've gone to, I've handed out my card to the business owners. Another thing that I've talked about, something that Councilwoman Tyler said about open forums. I went to one of her open forums. I think it's a great idea. And if there's more Democrats that are elected to the city council, I will be able to do quarterly open forums and meet your neighbors where people can come ask questions and make statements.
Thank you. So we are at about 10 minutes to the hour. We want to be close to on time, and I know you all want to give your closing statements. So I'm going to ask you a question. I want one sentence answer. This is an easy one to lighten it up, okay? But the people need to get to know you. Cheryl, we're going to start on your end and come this direction because you seem to have good answers and you seem to know a lot of these things. So tell me your favorite place to spend time in Bristol. Your favorite place to spend time in Bristol.
Oh, gosh. Sometimes...
One sentence answer.
Oh, I'm going to... one sentence?
One sentence.
I don't get here very often, but sometimes it's just so lovely to get home and
There you
put
go.
my feet
Good.
up and my jammies on.
Thank you. Right, you guys know the drill. Just bring it on down.
I would have to say the parks. The parks are one of my favorite places.
Now you can say it.
No, I'm not going to say it. One of my favorite places I would have to say is my home, especially when my daughter comes over. So it's like we have our whole family together and we get to go out and do things with our dog, walking around the neighborhood and meeting people.
Great, thank you. One sentence answers, guys. You can literally say, our home.
My favorite place is my home also because I love to cook when people come over.
Okay, there's a reason why.
Home. I have lived in many different houses on Chippins Hill, all within a 1 mile radius. Home.
Well, now there's pressure on this side of the table. The first guy that doesn't say home is in big trouble at home. But go ahead, Jennifer.
Well, I'm going to give you a run-on sentence, and I'm going to say naturally my first is home. As stated previously, we have 4 adorable little dogs, and they do not get enough of us, even if they had us 20 hours a day. And then I would say if I had to choose somewhere outside of our home, I would say we really do like, it was Joseph's Steakhouse. I don't know if they're changing the name again because it's Italian now, but it's close. It's great food,
Right.
great cocktails, and friendly people.
That's a very long run-on sentence. If there's any English teachers in here, that you can see her after. Peter?
Hi, I'm Peter Kelly. I'm not angry. And my favorite place to spend time in is Rockwell Park in the West End.
Great. Dwayne?
This is not an ad, but I love to go to Walmart. I walk around Walmart all the time, so yeah.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer.
I've never seen you there. So while I do love my home, my favorite place to go in Bristol is the children's department at the library.
All
I love
right.
to take my kids there, and they love it.
Didn't anyone have that on their bingo card? Nope. Okay. Yours.
While it is at my home, my favorite place is my backyard. Having a fire with friends and family, and our house is, all our neighbors always come over and congregate, and it's just a wonderful time. And so that's my favorite place.
I'm in the 1st District, so I must say, I really like going to Tommy's Place. They have the best sandwiches in Bristol. And then I bring them home.
All right. Thank you. It's also noted none of you said here tonight, just for the record. All right, we're going to go to closing statements. Each of you still has 90 seconds. To do so, we will, I believe it is time to start in District 3, which means, Cheryl, you get to lead off again.
Okay. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting the event, and thank you for everybody who came out to listen to everybody here. I want to congratulate each person that's up here on the stage because everybody here has that desire to serve Bristol and to serve everybody here. The voters have a clearer understanding, hopefully now, of what each candidate thinks, what they stand for, and I hope I've inspired those in my district to vote for me. I believe in collaboration over confrontation, action over words, and accountability to the people we serve. In fact, we've already reached across lines because at least the 3 of us all are New England Patriot fans, so we have collaboration going on right here in District 3 already. Thank you for giving me, whoops, whoa, we heard something down there. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my vision, and I look forward to another term as your councilwoman. Together, we can make Bristol even stronger. I'm Cheryl Tebow. I can be found on Row B, and I appreciate your support.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Cohn?
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Cohn. We're doing the snake around again.
I know we got 2 Steves there.
Okay.
That's why I referred to him as Mr. Cohn, not Steve 2 this time.
Thank you very much for coming tonight. And to be fair, I don't think Mark is angry, but the rest of them are. But that's okay. But here's the thing. Bristol is at a crossroads, right? We had, and it's a pretty clear decision for me. You had 4 years of the Zappo administration, and you had 4 years of this administration. Okay? 4 years of a career politician with an anger management problem, or we have Jeff Caggiano, open government, always a smile on his face, gets along with everybody, and he's never going to tell you something just because that's what you want to hear. And that's what makes it an easy decision for me. It's as simple as that, folks, okay? We can't go back to that. Really, I can't. I've thought about it. I can't do it, okay? And that's really all it boils down to, is the city's on the right track. We all know it. And that's what we have to do. We have to keep moving in the right direction. And that's what I think the people are going to decide. But I would appreciate your vote on November 4th. I hope to see some of you out there. Get out there and vote. You have to vote. No matter who you're voting for, get out there and vote. Get involved. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mark?
Well, there's a couple of things I want to bring up. The Bames Theater, that was done by the previous administration, and everybody that complains about it on Facebook. Grand list growth over the past, I'm just going to bring it down to 1 year. The last year of the previous administration had a grand list growth of over $2.4 million. This last year of grand list growth was under $750,000. That's a huge difference. If you want to continue the $750,000 worth of grand list growth in the city, or would you rather bring in taxes and have $2.4 million worth of growth? And that was 4 years ago when everything was cheaper then. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot more now to bring the taxes that are going to be brought in. In closing, at the end of the day, I ran for city council and continue to serve Bristol. I believe in Bristol. I believe in our neighborhoods and families and our shared future. Thank you for your trust, your support, and for showing up, not just tonight, but every day for our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour.
Okay, I think you should vote for me because I have a love for my city. I have multiple businesses here, so I know how they take care of their businesses. And I just like to point out that we do have a lot of things going for the city, ESPN, Carousel Museum, Clock Museum, and I think we should capitalize on that kind of stuff that we already have. Besides just growing, we should preserve what we already have, and I'm willing to work as much as I can on doing that and addressing the opioid and homelessness in the town. So vote for me on November 4th.
Great, thank you. We'll move to District 1. Mr. Nguyen, you go first.
At the end of the day, this campaign has never been about politics. It's about people. It's about the families who work hard every day, raise their children here, and simply want a city that works hard for them as they do for it. I've walked the streets of District 1, knocked on doors and listened. I've heard from parents worried about housing costs, small business owners frustrated about vacancies along Route 6, and residents who just want more communication alongside transparency with City Hall. What I've learned is that people are not asking for promises, they're just asking for individuals to be present. They want leaders who listen, who show up, and who follow through. That is why this election matters. It's time for Ellen to take back over with proven leadership, vision, and experience to continue the work she started years ago, strengthening Bristol through economic development, affordable taxes, and responsible growth. She has hand-selected a team of individuals who bring expertise in their field and has shared commitment to serve the city with integrity and purpose. Together, we will move Bristol forward through collaboration, accountability, and action. And ultimately, I just want everyone to do their research. You have all of our names. Do your research on both parties, what we stand for. Make sure we're in good standing with taxes and things of that nature. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Hahn.
You know, Steve, I've got to address that because I've walked and talked to thousands of homes, and I'm not mad. I'm not angry, but these people are. They're angry because they have another mortgage payment in taxes because of the Caggiano administration, and that's everyone in town. So yes, lots of people are angry, and they do need to see a change. I'm concerned. We need to fix this. No matter what the excuses are, the blame you hear, the taxes increased because the budget ballooned by $18 million. That's how it works. More money you need, the higher the taxes have to be. No amount of blaming the Democrats or blaming the boogeyman will make a difference. And the fact that our taxes have increased 27% and more in some cases over the last 4 years, and there is no end in sight. I have not heard a single plan to stop that. They can say their rhetoric, they can say they're angry. Yeah, I'm angry, and I hope you are too. We need to fix this. Look at our record, and you're going to see we have a proven track record of fiscal responsibility and keeping taxes in check. We have a proven track record of questioning when and if money should be spent. We have a proven track record of planned growth and fiscal responsibility. We have a proven track record for supporting those in need. When he gets on stage to debate
All right,
Ellen,
thank you.
count how many times
Hey, Greg, sorry.
Jeff
Thank you.
blames
Thank you.
someone else. Thank you for your time
Eric?
and your vote.
Thank you, sir. Ladies, gentlemen, in the chamber, thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit of my vision of Bristol's future. As your councilman for District 1, I've seen firsthand how communities thrive when we invest in its foundation. My commitment is clear: to strengthen Bristol's infrastructure and make the city a magnet for businesses. Our roads, our utilities, our public infrastructures are the backbone of our economic growth. The Board of Public Work, I push for smart upgrades, modernizing water systems, improving traffic flow, and ensuring reliable services that businesses can depend on. These aren't just projects, they're investments in our future. This makes Bristol a better place for companies that they can set up shop confidently. We are laying the groundwork for innovation and opportunity. Attracting businesses means creating an environment where they can succeed. I'm an advocate for streamlined permitting, the permit process, and incentivizing to draw Bristol employers to Bristol, from small startups to large industry. My work with the Housing Authority and Fair Rent Commissions ensures building a community where workers can afford to live and support in a supporting and local environment. Let's keep Bristol moving forward: strong infrastructure, thriving business, and a community that works for everyone. I'm Eric Rosengren, and I'm ready to help lead that charge, and hope to have your vote again on November 4th. Thank you, and have a great evening.
All right, thank you. Jennifer?
Hi, I would like to start with thanking the Chamber of Commerce for inviting me here this evening, and for all of the people of Bristol here in the audience. You're staying active and you're staying informed. And when people come together with a shared purpose, we create progress, inclusion, and a stronger community. It has been an honor to be here tonight and to share some of my vision for the city of Bristol. As I've said previously, I am a lifelong resident of Bristol and am currently raising my 3 boys here with my husband, Justin. We love our community, and we hope one day that our children can raise their children here as well. I'm running for city council because I want to keep Bristol moving forward by supporting small businesses, growing our downtown, and bringing in family-friendly entertainment and vibrant spaces for young adults. These are investments that build pride, strengthen our neighborhoods, and create a reliable tax base, all while protecting the money in the pockets of Bristol's hardworking residents. Bristol is my home and my heart, and together we can keep it strong, safe, and full of opportunity for every generation. I'm Jennifer St. John, and I would be honored to earn your trust, your support, and your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We'll move to District 2. Peter?
Yes, as I had said, I was initially very reluctant to run, but once I decided to run, I'm all in. And it was an easy decision to be all in after I saw the team that was assembled. Without sounding egotistical, our team is better from top to bottom, with experience, young people with work history that haven't run before, Jen with the Board of Education, but most importantly, you're only as good as the top person on the ticket. And Ellen was born to be the mayor of Bristol, Connecticut. Extremely knowledgeable, extremely caring, hardworking. Ellen can have a little edge, but that is fine because she's passionate and she's real. And some of the delusional thoughts I'm hearing from the other side of the aisle, we've just incurred the biggest tax increase in 100 years in Bristol. It's got to end. Bristol can't afford another 2 years of Jeff Caggiano.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Thank you, everyone, for your time and attention this evening. After more than a decade of public service, I've learned that real progress doesn't come from shouting the loudest, desperately seeking the last word, or being rude. It comes from working together. Collaboration and cooperation create the positive outcomes that our residents deserve. That's why I'm running for City Council, to bring that spirit back to City Hall. We need representation that builds relationships before conflict, that listens first, and that treats every resident as a partner in Bristol's future. A city that dubs itself all heart has no room for negativity, palace intrigue, backroom deals, or interdepartmental dysfunction. Bristol deserves leaders who can work together, not ones who are looking to undermine others. From our youngest learners at Edgewood to our seniors at Sheridan Woods, every resident deserves a council that is willing and able to serve them with no ulterior motives. Let's turn the page together. Let's build a city hall that reflects the best of Bristol, collaborative, caring, and united. On November 4th, let's choose the team that puts people first. Please vote for me, Jennifer Tagriello, and the rest of the A-team. Thank you.
Great, thank you. For those of you that forgot how we handled it earlier, Sue Tyler is playing two roles. I believe she will start as Jackie Olson in her closing statement, and then yourself.
Okay, this is for Jackie Olson, who was really very disappointed to not be here this evening. Having been a part of the City Council and serving the City of Bristol has been one of my most satisfying accomplishments in my lifetime. I would recommend everyone capable of getting involved to do so. Bristol is your city. If I'm fortunate enough to be reelected, I will continue to support the growth of the Grand List. I will do my part in making certain that we continue to have checks and balances. I will continue to advocate for seniors. As a retired senior, I know firsthand what it's like to live on a fixed income. I will also advocate for persons with disabilities, even if it is simply to assure them that we are ADA compliant. Last, public safety needs to be a priority. By working together, we can find reasonable solutions. Win or lose, I am proud to be a part of this team. I do hope that I will have your vote. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jackie. Now put on your Sue hat.
I am really thankful sitting here on this stage and to have an opportunity to serve the city that I absolutely love. If given another 2-year term, I will continue to be one of Bristol's loudest cheerleaders. I will continue to be transparent and accessible to every single one of you. My time and energy will stay focused on every quality of life issue that impacts each and every single one of our lives. I am really proud to be part of Team Bristol, and there is no letter behind Team Bristol except for the letter B. If you vote at Southside, Chippins Hill, or West Bristol, that's where you'll find my name on the ballot, and I'm on 3B. I just want to end with one thing. I'm really glad that I'm the last person here that gets to speak, and I have 39 seconds left. I've been working with a group of people, and I see a few of them here in this audience, and they're of all different party affiliations. We've been working to put together a communication piece so that all of us in Bristol can get our news, whether it pertains to the city or our businesses or what's going on with events. So please, I invite you all, it's still under construction and it's newly developed, but I invite you all to check out mainstreetbristol.com. Thank you.
Great, thank you. In a moment, we'll take about a 5-minute break to let these folks get off and the mayoral candidates come up. I don't think there's anything to talk to the mayoral candidates about based on what we heard, so you might want to stick around. Before we take the break, please offer a round of applause and thank these candidates. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could settle in, let's get started. Part 2 of tonight's event, brought to you by the Central Chamber of Commerce, is the mayoral portion. We heard plenty in the last round, so this should be fun. To remind everybody, questions are set. We've determined the order by a coin toss. It was a legitimate coin toss. Mr. Caggiano will go first in a moment. Reminder, in this format, it's different. So we will address alternately the questions to the candidate. The candidate that goes first has 2 minutes. The candidate that follows has 2 minutes. The candidate that goes first in this one gets a 30-second rebuttal. You guys know how the timers work. You saw on the Oh, here's your timer. I was like, wait, the timer disappeared on this side. As you saw in the last one, you're done on time, right? Because we got places to be and a lot of information to get to these folks. So before we get started, can you all give a round of applause and welcome your mayoral candidates? All right. As done by one of the greatest coin tosses of all time earlier, Jeff, you won the right for the opening statement, so the first 2 minutes are yours.
Thank you. I want to thank the Chamber for hosting tonight. I grew up in Bristol. I raised my family in Bristol. And like you, I want what's best for Bristol. I decided to run for mayor to give residents their voice back. In the past 4 years, I have questioned the way things have always been done and given autonomy to city workers. We've ended the era of leaders who think they can solve problems that don't exist. And I believe in term limits, and I am myself limiting my term because I think civic leaders should feel the need to make immediate impacts. Tonight, I look forward to diving deeper into dozens of projects that are completed or underway that have transformed our city over the past 4 years. We've seen tremendous progress, economic growth, and quality of life enhancements. The state puts out a town profile each year that highlights demographic and economic statistics of each city. In the city of Bristol, we have grown from an average of 322 new businesses per year pre-COVID to an average of 588 new businesses per year under my leadership. Bristol was an aging in place city, but in the past 4 years, we have grown by 1,800 people with a strong, young, new vibe. Our largest and fastest growing population is 20 to 39-year-olds, and young people are moving from bigger Connecticut cities, and young people are moving from other states because this is a great place to raise a family and a great value. There is no debate on what has happened recently downtown, but there are big projects all over Bristol. There are 4 brand new business deals that have been executed in the Southeast Business Park and 2 expansions. The new development on Route 6 at Mahana Farm will bring immediate taxes, and 894 Middle Street across from ESPN was recently sold. This job is about getting stuff done, and tonight I'm looking forward to sharing my vision of where we've been and how we will continue to build a better Bristol.
Great, thank you. Ellen, 2-minute opening statement.
So tonight I figured that we would come here and we would have to have the conversation about what happened then versus what happened now. And I do think it's important to say that economic development is consistently and always built on the backs of previous administrations. And there is a lot that has been gotten done. And I look forward to talking about that as it's interwoven, not just my administration, but the ones before, especially as it relates to downtown. And I was so inspired by both sides of the aisle during the council debate that it kind of changed how I wanted to talk about my opening statement. And the other thing that influenced me was the fact that this should be about public service, which so many of them were so passionate about. But yet this morning on Facebook, the mayor of the city of Bristol posted, "Tonight will be fun. 4 years of the greatest economic growth in Bristol in 100 years versus a bitter group of progressive Dems who couldn't get it done and raised taxes in a low inflationary time with surplus funds and a stagnant grand list." So that's reset it for me, because now we're going to move into the receipts section of tonight, and we're going to talk about data. We're going to talk about data points, and we're going to talk about budget points, and we're going to talk about the CAFR reports, and we're going to talk about what the definition of stagnant is. And it's not because I'm bitter or I'm angry or I'm carrying a grudge. It's because I do think that there's a lot to be said about governance. And a lot of times with public service and public administration, we come here with a list of what we're going to talk about. But tonight for me, it's about making everyone understand that public service runs deep. You don't often see the compromises that protect the greater good, or the quiet interventions that protect the bigger problems, or the moments that you choose not to react because the long game matters more than the momentary win or the photo op.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I remind both of you that it's the opening and closing statements do not have rebuttals, even though someone's name was mentioned. Ellen, the first question is going to be yours because you lost the coin toss, and so you got to get the first question. And let's start with taxpayers' money. One of the most important roles of a mayor is to effectively and efficiently manage taxpayers' money in a fiscally responsible manner. So what I am looking for is your definition of being fiscally responsible. Ellen, you have 2 minutes.
Here's a quote from the 24-25 budget book, with this administration. Overall, the increase in the grand list generates an estimated and only $563,500 in additional revenue. This is the lowest revenue generated from growth in the grand list that the city has realized in the last 6 years. Most recently, this compares to $6.2 million and $2.5 million in revenue growth from the previous grand lists, respectively. So basically, I like to just say that grand list growth is not exclusive of this administration. It is something that we worked hard at. And the only year in which the Caggiano administration did not have to raise taxes is the grand list year that we gifted him $6.2 million in additional revenue funds. So again, the back and forth about who did what, who's responsible for what, whose budget numbers are which, I would like to get beyond that, because I have the list of the last 8 years of grand list growth, and it's not what it's been represented in either the media or in the political flyers or in any of the conversations. But let's get beyond that, and let's start talking about how do we improve upon the fact that the grand list growth over the last 4 years has fallen off precipitously from $5.5 million earned through the 23-24 budget to a paltry $750,000. And that's because some of those new projects that have come on board have incentives and abatements, but for the most part, there are not any new pieces coming through the economic development pipeline. There is not a lot of interest in the TIF district. Maybe we haven't been using the opportunity zone, but all of the projects that you've heard about tonight, including the Mahana Farms, has been in the works for years. And so to me, I'd rather have a policy discussion tonight about how to continue the building blocks and putting together that crossroads definition about where we are and where we're going. And I think that that has to be done with...
Great. Thank you. You do get a rebuttal on this one, so you can finish that thought in a minute, but first 2 minutes.
I'm not sure that everybody in the audience can see this, but I think you can see a huge difference here. So I just need to give people what the grand list growth was under the 4 years of the previous administration. It added up to about $410 million total. The grand list growth, based mainly, quite honestly, on a 22 revaluation of all of our homes, and we know our homes went up quite a bit, was $1.3 billion with a B. That might go for row B as well, too. I think what we have seen clearly is a lot of COVID issues where the grand list growth that the previous administration was able to garner because of motor vehicle valuations going up and then getting capped after and coming down affect your tax rate greatly. And we can't do a tax thing tonight because it would take way too much time. It's a complicated picture, and there's no doubt that taxes are going up. They're going up all over the state. The question was about fiscal responsibility. Yes. So we have definitely been a fiscally responsible city since 1911, when a very strong Board of Finance was put in place. There's eight appointed officials, and the mayor sits on that board as well. So there's 9 votes that determine what our budget's going to be and what our tax rate's going to be and how we move forward. In a very difficult economic time, we've made some tough decisions. We haven't expanded government at all. As a matter of fact, we've eliminated a couple of positions over the last years, and we still maintain the number 10 in the country pension plan, which allows us to invest in our future. So the growth of many of the projects are brand new, and we've had innovative approaches. I'm sure I'll get a chance to talk about it a little bit more, but shared parking arrangements downtown have brought us $60 million of new buildings across the street at the Carrier building, and the Route 6 project was because of an ARPA light that opened up that project that we worked on recently.
Great. Thank you. Ellen, 30 seconds.
The new businesses that are being touted are simply business registrations recorded with the Secretary of State. They are not real businesses, and if they were real businesses, I don't think our taxes would have gone up 27%. They are the McDonald Realty LLC rebranding, and they are the Hybrid Tech LLC, a ride-sharing on Wilderness Way. They are the Operation Hold Your Horses, a nonprofit operating in Harwington with offices in Bristol. Kiss My Grass property, which is located in a home on 137 Judd Street.
Thank you. Next, we will move to a question about ARPA. Federal ARPA COVID relief funds were used to create something near and dear to the Chamber of Commerce, Bristol Works, a workforce development program under the Chamber's umbrella. As grant funds come to an end, how do you propose the city support the sustainability of this program in 2026 and beyond? Jeff, you're first.
The first thing I have to say is that the city of the city of Bristol was noticed that it did something very different with our ARPA funding. Many cities put that into programs and people that are ongoing sustainable cost needs. We used it as a grant program for some nonprofits, which helps them to stay up and reduce some of our tax burden for potential programs. We also have many innovative projects, and one that I'm very proud of is the Hope Street Garage, which was paid for 100% by ARPA funds that our ARPA task force put together through a grant process. And that opened up development in the downtown area that is really historic. So the carriers are sharing spaces with that garage. Wheeler Health was completely redesigned and moved over to create an acre and a half of new developable space that will go out to bid next week, and we'll have another developer come in and bring taxable income to our city. And they share our parking garage, and then we share their surface parking so that we can make sure that we have great economic growth downtown. So the ARPA funds have been used extremely well. We have Bristol Works that is doing job development, which we'll probably get that question a little bit later. And we have many other funding sources that have helped people really move this city forward. So we've done an excellent job with that. I guess to just get right to the answer to the question, because I do have 30 seconds left, is that we don't have to worry about an ARPA gap in our budget. Many cities and towns have used those fundings for people and programs that they'll have to pay, and they've created a budget hole. We certainly haven't done that in Bristol, and I actually am really proud of the 15-member task force that worked together very closely to make all of that happen.
All right, Ellen?
I would have to agree with Mayor Caggiano. The task force that we put together in the fall of 2021 did extraordinary work, helping the nonprofits build bridge the gap between some of our social safety needs, especially in the wake of COVID. The small business assistance programs that were designed in order to bolster those who had either an entrepreneurial spirit or were struggling because of COVID. And then the very careful diagnosis of some of those ARPA funds being able to be utilized for city projects, which gave some relief to the budget. In terms of Bristol Works, I have been involved with them and I've referred people there, and I think that it is unfortunate that the funding has been exhausted without a plan in place. I think that it is a vital arm in terms of the cooperation and the collaboration that cities should offer to their nonprofit partners, and I would hopefully be able to see a way to find additional funding to help them. Because at the end of the day, it's the jobs that are making a difference and bolstering our community and building back up that economy. We also have so many people who are in need of job training within their small businesses, mid-sized businesses, and they've been filling that niche as well. And I also can't help but think about the people who are underemployed and that are the jobs that are going unfilled, especially in our manufacturing sector. So having that critical focus and now knowing that they're going to be at least temporarily housed within the chamber offices makes me very happy, but I think that there's more of a role that we should be playing as a government in order to sustain what is a very successful program, and that would be a goal moving forward.
Great, thank you. 30 seconds.
So when I inherited the ARPA task force, which is a great team, there was a list of kind of what I'll call pet projects. We started to meet twice a month in the months of November and December, rolled my sleeves up right away. We got things moving. We put out a bid for proposals to the entire community, and then that task force under my leadership, picked all of these great projects. And there's a long list of them. I ask you to look them up and see when they happened.
Great, thank you. Ellen, the next question starts with you, and we're going to stay on the economic topic and talk about economic development, particularly what you see as priorities for the city of Bristol.
Well, there's several. I had a whole list here, and I'm just going to look for it real quick. So I think basically when we talk about economic development, we talk about the synergy between departments, we talk about the synergy that's between the mayor's office and the council, and we talk about the greater regional aspect of how Bristol is perceived. And I think that while there have been a number of great sustainable and continuing projects, and I love seeing some of the small businesses that have opened, I think that we also have to be quite aware that some of the perception out there, and I know that some people will view this as being negative and is not my intent, but from a constructive standpoint, we have some structural issues and we have some cyclical issues. We have a very difficult and slogged down process within land use office. We have some problems within the building and permitting process. We have some issues that are very difficult to be resolved, and some business owners are very frustrated by them. We have the issues of being on the front page all the time about not adequately funding education, which is a calling card. We have the infamous vote to not vote in favor of the Wheeler Purchase and Sales Agreement in November of 2021, which sent a chilling effect through some of the economic development pieces. We have economic development strategies where it appears that instead of being collaborative and trying to work with people, we're calling developers and leaving not nice voicemail messages, not nice texts, and actually calling the owner of Chick Miller at 4:50 a.m. via text to demand presence at a meeting. This is not a way to establish good relationships, and it's not a way that I would do economic development. And I think especially as it relates to Chick Miller, this is a long-standing problem.
Thank you.
I need to start out right away by apologizing to all of those small businesses that have just gotten totally offended because their business doesn't count. And I need to let all of you know that the DECD report that comes out is a listing of all businesses, and it's an apples-to-apples comparison. So there, unfortunately, were 322 insignificant businesses 4 or 6 years ago, and apparently now the 588 businesses don't make much of an impact. So the other thing that was called out that I do want to call all of your attention to is one of the reasons that we see a tax increase is for the first time in 15 years, the Board of Education has been fully funded. A $6.6 million increase this last year more than covered the $5 million deficit that's been growing since I've been on the Board of Education. So when I was on the Board of Education in 2015, they had a $2 million deficit in special education. And that has been growing and growing, and we've been stealing from Peter to pay Paul for all those years. We are at a point where you have to make tough decisions in the city, and for all of you that are upset about taxes, I'm not too sure how we would have lowered taxes by putting more money into education. And I think we did the right thing. We have fully funded education, and special education is fully funded for the first time in 15 years. If you don't believe me, you can ask Amy Martino, who gave that report to the Board of Finance a couple of weeks ago. And I think, you know, in closing here, you have to realize that tough decisions are made so that we can go ahead and do the right thing for the city. And for me, even though I only have 2 years left as your mayor, if you all choose to go ahead and elect me again, we're looking long-term as our Board of Finance needs to make these decisions. And I know that on the Democrat side, they talked about getting an elected Board of Finance. I love our appointed Board of Finance.
Great, thank you. 30 seconds.
You know, governance is different than making a sales pitch, and no disrespect meant to the 588 businesses that are listed in whatever listing we're talking about, but they are not bricks and mortar businesses, and that was my point. We need to look at our vacancy rate, which right now in the city of Bristol for commercial real estate is 22%. So let's talk about what we're going to do to move that forward as opposed to anything else.
Thank you. Appreciate you wrapping it up. Next question. Jeff, starts with you. You both know the job, but one of the key responsibilities for any mayor is marketing their city, their town, their neighborhoods, their businesses. Tell me what you would say to somebody thinking about relocating their business to Bristol.
I've done it hundreds of times, and I said Bristol is a great place in my opening to raise a family. Bristol has the best citywide school system in the state. And when I say that, I want to make sure that you all fully understand what I'm talking about. We're the 12th largest city, but in our DIRG, District Reference Group, we perform at the top of the scale for all of those larger school districts. We are fully funding education, and we are trying to move forward in that way. I think the DTC, this will probably be my closing, maybe I won't have to do it, but I think the DTC called me just a salesman. Well, that's exactly what I've been doing for the last 4 years. I've been selling this city that I love. I've been going out and getting outside investment, not just local developers. Just this morning, we had Steve Shapiro come up from Gold Coast Developers, who I partnered directly with a local landowner where Mafali's burnt down just 2 years ago. And that local landowner looked at me and said, I just don't have the bandwidth to do something right now. And I said, this is a hot real estate market. We have all the other shovels in the ground, and we need to move this property forward. Your property is valuable. Introduced him to Steve, and today we announced that there'll be a 30-apartment building with an Italian restaurant he's talking about putting underneath, but it's a multi-use building with commercial development underneath. We did that as well by partnering together. So this isn't just a private project, because it was private land, and most of you want to have things happen on private land, but we don't direct that too much. But in this case, the Board of Education parking lot was way underutilized, and this development needed 20 spaces, so we will be leasing those spaces for 15 years to this developer to make it happen. That's the kind of stuff that I get done on a daily basis, and it's been a lot of fun to be a great salesman.
Great. Thank you. Ellen?
So I would hesitate to call the Board of Education fully funded, as it struggled to make its demands given to them cut almost $6 million. There was also a brochure that came out talking about how the fact that the Board of Ed
Hold on just a
overspent.
second.
You got to reset the clock for her.
Yeah, we got to reset the clock. This is her full 2 minutes.
Give her the whole 2 minutes. She could start over. I'm fine.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. So, well, let me start. From a marketing perspective, my concern has always been with the quality of education. We have not fully funded education at all. In fact, the brochure that was recently released by the RTC, which said hog wild spending $11 million overspent, the majority of that money that is regarding that budget is not one of generosity from the current administration. It's actually due to lack of compliance. There's been a lot of letters that have come from Hartford over the course of the last couple of years. One of them was informing the city that they were in violation of the MBR. So a lot of this goes back to what's important, what are the priorities in terms of budgeting. And I do believe that fair and equitable education for all of our children is important. It is the marketing and the calling card for a community. And so I do think that that has to be a priority. In terms of small businesses, I envision both the Forestville Center as well as the West End Center as the next areas where we can really unfold some really interesting projects, both from a housing perspective, but also those small entrepreneurial businesses. Basically, the West End and the West End plan that was adopted about now 15 years ago has kind of been in transit. And some of those accomplishments within the West End plan have been done, but overall there's still a lot that can be done. And I think in terms of Forestville, a lot of that can be mirrored as well. In the West End, there's only 28% home ownership, but there's all of these great older buildings. We have 50.4% of the landlords that live elsewhere, so there's an opportunity ripe for reinvestment in terms of what we need to do. We also could work more in terms of marketing and getting transportation access there, so those people can have jobs and access to those industrial parks, the corridors, et cetera. So,
Great, thank you. Thank you. 30-second rebuttal.
Yeah, I think I just want to get education cost off the table here. So in the 4 years, budget years, and by the way, budget years are a year delayed, so the 22 budget is a budget that I inherited for the previous administration. But from 2019 to 2022, there was $11.3 million at 2.47% annual increase given to the Board of Ed. In the 4 years that I've been mayor, it's $14 million at 2.78%. So my question is, if we underfunded education, what's the case with you?
All right. Let's not drift very far from that topic and stick with the Board of Ed for a moment in a question that talks about We understand that city governments and boards of education's very commonplace to have discussions about money. The Board of Education, I understand, makes up the majority of the city's budget at about 56% of the overall budget in Bristol. So beyond just giving them a target number to work with, what can you do as mayor? What expertise, what resources can you do to help them manage a budget and maximize resources? Ellen, the question starts with you.
I found that having a close working relationship with the Board of Education paid dividends for both their side of the house as well as City Hall. We collaborated with building facility management, and we had their person come over and help manage the city buildings because we have a pretty extensive inventory of square footage. Many of it at the time was aging. We also worked closely with the IT collaboration. We maintained control of all servers. They were able to continue to maintain control of their academic needs and software, but we had some overlap. And through that, we found significant cost savings, but even more importantly, it was efficiencies. We were able to cross-train employees across division lines, which I thought was very important as well. But the most important thing was having a strong, working, collaborative relationship. And that didn't mean that we agreed on anything. Former Superintendent Carbone and I disagreed greatly, right in this building, and how it was going to be run once it came online. But we settled those differences amicably. I don't believe that there's any good that can come of pointing fingers and trying to make a scapegoat out of education, our teachers, or central office. The first time that they notify you of a deficit, which is required by state law, usually happens in October or November based on their latest enrollment data. That's the time when you sit down and you start working toward what needs to be done in order to balance the budget, what resources are needed, what could be done in order to control some spending, doing an internal audit, making sure all the bills are being processed by the external providers of services like special ed transportation. All of that can be done, but it is really based on collaboration and trust and strong respect between the pillars. And from that, I have found that really good things can flow, including being able to understand their needs, fund their needs, and be able to really showcase the Bristol Public Schools in the way that it is meant to, which is our shining star in terms of what will attract people here, as well as attract businesses here, because they're concerned about their employees.
Thank you. Jeff?
I hope you're all
2 minutes.
sitting down because I actually will 100% agree with Ellen. Dr. Carbone was tremendous to work with. I often disagreed with her on policy, but she was very back and forth on budgetary items and was very honest and straightforward. There's been a lot of talk about this MBR noncompliance. I want to explain that to all of you quickly. Minimum budget requirement says that whatever the Board of Education spends, the city needs to give them that money plus more the next year. And we did have a disagreement on how that is read, because it means that if you deficit spend, the city not only has to backstop you for that deficit spend, but then they have to give you more money the next year. And there is one caveat: if student enrollment drops by 15%, then you can reduce the amount of spending. But I think collaboration is being upfront with people. So remember, there was a change in leadership in April of 2024, and Dr. Carbone left and said that they would probably be about $1.8 million over budget. On August 14th, we got dueling letters. We got a letter from the chair of the Board of Education, and we got a letter from the State Department of Education that told us that that the Board of Ed was $3.4 million short, and because we set our budget in May, we were unfortunately non-MBR compliant. And I'm just going to read you the quote from the Board of Education chairwoman. "Nevertheless, I appreciate that Bristol has responsible leaders and a rainy day fund to support the community in times of need." That's not collaboration, and they didn't get to debate tonight too, but I want to make sure that all of you realize that the Board of Education is up for re-election or new election, a lot of new members running for the Board of Ed, and I think a healthy discussion would start with the right of collaboration up front.
Great. Thank you. Ellen, you have 30 seconds.
So when you read the audit that was done in February of 25, here's what they frame as the structure. And it is a city funding failure, chronic underfunding versus known cost trends, failure to match real growth and state mandates, optimistic reimbursement assumptions left unfilled, reactive, not proactive budgeting, outdated financial infrastructure, shared accountability but no shared solutions, and lack of contingency planning. To me, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Great, thank you. I'd like to point out to everybody that's worried about the time that we started at about 20 after, so we will run till about 8:20. If you're looking at the top of the hour and think we're about to run out, we're not. We got plenty more. Earlier, we asked the city council candidates a question that I would like to ask both of you. It's a one-sentence answer. It's off the board, and the answer cannot be my house, my home. I want it to be somewhere where anyone in this room can come, and I know both of you are running for office and want all these votes, so you may say, come on over to my house. But can you tell us in one sentence a place you love in Bristol?
Anywhere in the woods, love to hike. We have lots of great parks to do it in, by the way.
Thank you. Ellen?
Hand-to-hand thrift shop on North Main Street.
There you go. That's the kind of local flavor we were looking for. No one said Chick-fil-A, which would have been my answer.
They're not going to open until
I know, but I'm already camped. It's kind of ugly. Let's talk about public safety. And Jeff, you start this question. The Chamber is a business advocacy organization, but I think by and large everybody in Bristol would agree that a safe and secure city for our families, employees, and customers is important. So comment on the current state of public safety in Bristol and what you would do in the next 2 years.
I have to start first that I think I'm the first Republican mayor candidate anyway that was fully endorsed by the police and fire unions, and very proud of that because I take public safety very seriously. I've always said we have 3 priorities: public education, public safety, and public works. I'm sure we'll get into that later. But on the police side, we obviously went through a horrific tragedy years ago, and we thought that we might be understaffed chronically, and we thought we'd lose an awful lot of officers. I give huge credit to Chief Gould, who led us through that, but I partnered with him, and we are one of the very few cities that is not understaffed. We have a couple openings, but I can go down the list: Hartford, Meriden, Middletown, New Britain, New Haven. All of these are chronically understaffed, which doesn't allow them to do great policing efforts. And that's something that we haven't seen here in Bristol, and I think that's due to great leadership, and I do thank the current chief now, too, for continuing that along. We did also hire 2 new community wellness officers, and we did this in a very innovative fashion. So the state legalized cannabis. Some are against it, some weren't, but there is a 3% adult use tax that comes in. We set that aside, and we now pay in a long, sustainable fashion for those 2 community wellness officers. So not only are we not understaffed, we went from 122 police officers to 124, and we are not using taxpayer money for that. I'm also working with our firefighters. We have a growing city. We have a lot of economic development and a lot of building, if you haven't seen it. And we have a new ladder truck and a brand new fire station that will open up later this year. So we're investing in public safety like no other administration before me.
Great, thank you. Ellen?
I think public safety is connected to so many things. It's connected to how businesses and residents feel safe within their communities. It's connected to the relationships that the school resource officers build within the school buildings. It's connected to the fact that we have 17 square miles and 27,000 households, and every one of them should wake up every day and feel safe. And that when you call 911 or the non-emergency number, that someone's going to respond. And that, in essence, is the beauty of public service and governance, is that you make sure that all of the budgets and the equipment and everything happens so that whenever you make that call, nobody's thinking about it. It just happens. And that is why it's so important to have policies in place that back up all of those departments. And I do think that, having been married to a Bristol police officer, I have an inside view on some of the challenges within the structure, and I think that for the most part, the department is extremely well run. But there's always room for improvement, and I think that that has been one of the hallmarks in terms of my leadership, is that I always push the departments to do more, to do better, and to go above and beyond. 90% of them make that mark, and I'm proud to say that my husband and all of his colleagues were part of that. On the fire side, it's also very important to understand the needs of apparatus, the training, the change of construction, and what that means in terms of responding to hazardous materials, what it means for call volume, what that means in terms of how to invest in equipment. And again, that budget has grown, and I think that what we need to continue to do is manipulate it in order to ensure that the call volume is in response to what those priorities are. It's not always house fires or construction type issues anymore. There's so much more that goes into it.
All right. Hey, it was great that you were talking about fire when the red buzzer went off. It's like we got a theme going on up here. 30 seconds.
I have tremendous faith in all of our department heads, especially our fire chief, so I'll let him run the fire department. But I will also say that, if Pete were running for mayor, I'd vote for him as well, too.
Right. Thank you. Next question, Ellen, we'll start with you, and it's a theme we heard earlier and it's come up already tonight, property taxes. People say they've gone up significantly. Can you talk a little bit about what's driving these increases, and moreover, what you say to a resident that wants to know what are you going to do about it? 2 minutes.
It is the question of the year. And I was concerned, both as someone who still owns a home in town and pays taxes. I saw a huge jump in my taxes. And so the policy piece of me was, okay, what's driving this? What happened? And the city side spending went up $18 million. And so I went to look for what that was. And what we did is we submitted a Freedom of Information request to the city's tax office for all pre- and post-revaluation property values from the tax assessor. We sorted the residential, we calculated the taxes based on the mill rate. There were 19,382 parcels. 2,000 homes had a 40% increase or more. Many thousands of homes were over 30% for their tax increase. So to me, that was unsustainable in terms of growth. We want seniors to stay in their homes as long as they can live independently. We want turnover in neighborhoods to be moderate because that will affect the school system, and it's also the provision of how we provide city services. So what I really came down to at the end of the day was that we increased spending as well during our administration the previous 4 years, but what we were able to do successfully is control our costs on the other side. So when you got to that delta of needing to fix what that tax rate was based on the mill rate, we were able to not go as high in some years. We combined departments. We created efficiencies across the lines. We eliminated about 12 positions, which included pension contributions, health insurance, et cetera, and all of that helped to manage the cost side. In doing so, we were able to regulate the tax side. And I do think that there's lots of opportunities to continue those very innovative ways of working the departments and seeing what their new priorities are. A lot of strategic planning was started, and that was leading us into some very exciting territory in terms of reshaping what public service and the provision of those services are.
Thank you. Jeff, 2 minutes.
As you all know, taxes are very complicated, but I just want to go back a little bit because I won't get a rebuttal on this one. But the 21 budget, which was COVID budget, shut down, school was shut down, huge surpluses in the Board of Education. The city of Bristol raised its taxes, yes, very minimally. If we look at percentage, it was small. But no other city in central Connecticut did it, and I looked it up. There were 21 out of 169 cities and towns that raised the mill rate that year. And of all of those other cities, the ones that didn't raise taxes, most lowered the mill rate. So 3 out of 4 years, the previous administration raised the mill rate. That raises your taxes without a reval. And when you do that, you have an election year gimmick, which it was called by the previous administration, by not raising taxes in the budget year that I inherited, which is 2022. You all know that home values went up 35 to 40%. And that has happened statewide. I just went up to the state capitol to ask that the state consider taking the $500 million that they have in their volatility cap money and give that back to the taxpayers, because I think we'll both agree that special education was underfunded, and it's really the reimbursement of special education. So, you know, taxes are a tough thing. I would not want to raise taxes. I call myself a Ronald Reagan Republican, and we want to keep things low. But as I also mentioned to all of you, our Board of Finance doesn't do election year gimmicks. They look ahead and they say, where is the city of Bristol? We're growing, we're thriving, we're on the right path. Quite honestly, and this isn't against the previous mayor, but for 64 years, we have been revitalizing downtown, and it's been a huge drag on our economy. I know she doesn't like that, but she had 4 years to build one project that would have brought taxes in, and that would have been great.
All right, if that's done, I do believe you have 30 seconds to tell us why you banged your head on the table.
Structural issues are important. So quickly, state budget deficits during my administration, they had shortfalls. During Jeff's, they are running surpluses and rainy days at the record high. I had special education costs rising steadily. They capped excess cost. While they're still rising during his administration, pressure has been partially offset. Motor vehicle mill rate phase-in was active during my transition. The cap is now continued, but the new phase-in is carrying forward. And in revaluation cycles, I had one and he had one as well.
It was right.
All right, yeah, no, the thing was...
Now we go back to 2.
I don't know about you guys, that beep's making me jump every time. So, all right. So debates like this are a lot about the future and what people think are wrong. Let's talk about what's right for just a second. I'd like to ask each of you, Jeff, starting with you, to clearly, so like number 1, number 2, number 3, not in rank order, but name 3 strengths of the city.
That fiscal responsibility is the number one strength of this city. As I mentioned before, our pension fund is fully funded. It allows us to make sure that we aren't putting money in each year to pay those retirement costs. And we also have a very high bond rating. Bond ratings change. I know there's going to be something about that coming back at me, but we are still the highest bond rating of any city with the exception of Stamford and big cities. So we can borrow money and we can do things more effectively. I think the other thing, and I'm going to make this number 2, even though it's kind of a fiscal thing as well, is we have reached a lower plateau now of our spending. So we have said no quite a bit to a lot of capital projects, and many of those capital projects that I inherited, we pay for now in debt service. Our total debt service right now per a ratio to our budget is somewhere in the 6 or 7%, and I actually see some Board of Finance members sitting out there now. That's something that we set and was on the rise when we were elected. So, those fiscal responsibilities are a very important thing. And then, as I talked about as a salesman before, the value that you get in Bristol is still greater than many of the other surrounding towns to us. Believe it or not, our mill rate is actually very close to that of Southington. I'm not trying to pick on Southington, but they don't have a fully staffed fire. They have, volunteer fire. They don't pick up trash. They don't have all the services. We've maintained every single service in the city of Bristol and have held spending to our lowest possible so that we can still offer great value here. And that's why we see our population growing and mainly why we see young people coming to the city of Bristol.
Great, thank you. And we're fine with you picking on Southington. They're not a part of our Chamber of Commerce, so have at any town that's not a member of the Central Chamber of Commerce. Ellen, 2 minutes. 3 things that are right with the city.
So I think the fiscal responsibility issues are definitely key, and I agree with Mayor Caggiano on that. And I would like to point out that the forecasting and the strategic planning that we did successfully for 4 years pointed to some of that and ensured that it continued. And the one thing I'd like to point out is the pension reorganization plan from 2018. And while some of the unions were very nervous about it, it ensured that by putting all 3 of the funds, fire, police, and general retirement, under an umbrella, that it meant that we did not have to make a $4 million contribution that year or for any years thereafter. And I believe the actuarial estimation was for the next 20 plus years. So think about $4 million times 20, and think about all the money that could be successfully and has been reinvested in other parts of our city budget because of that one decision. The second issue I would say is, again, so much focus on downtown, and it looks great, and it's coming out exactly as we all envisioned it. But more importantly now, we have to go into the neighborhoods. We have to go into the villages, Forceville, the West End, the second floor of the historic Main Street. And I envision a microeconomic development program where tenancy issues are brought to the city and we help, kind of like a larger Bristol Bazaar type model, where we can help fill those spaces, add to the grand list, decrease the vacancy rate and help new businesses come in with the assistance of the city. And I say that specifically because I do believe that we need to invest in the businesses that are willing to invest in us. And the third piece would be the priority is to fix the fractured relationship with the Board of Education, because nobody wins, especially the kids, when there's this type of finger pointing and accusatory language.
All right, so I'll ask, does a list of things that are right in the city need a rebuttal for 30 seconds? You have it.
I just want to add something. I didn't disagree with anything she said, but it's not just downtown development. We have 4 new businesses in the Southeast Business Park and 2 expansions of the original business. By the way, all of those have happened in the last 4 years, and previously there was only 1 new business in the Southeast Business Park. Unfortunately, we had to resell that property because it did not work. 894 Middle Street, I'll get to talk about that later probably as well too, but that's brand new industrial condos. It'll bring 40 new businesses to town very soon.
All right, it is getting later. One of the last questions. I think we're gonna get 2 more questions and a closing statement. So get those points in early. Jeff, you get to start this one? Yeah. No,
I had to
sorry,
rebuttal,
my notes
so
off. Sorry. I was like, you didn't just talk. Small business. Lifeblood of a community, lifeblood of a chamber of commerce. Tell us why a small business owner should support you. 2 minutes.
So small business is the backbone of any economy, and I spent 12 years at the Chamber of Commerce in New Britain, where we painstakingly rebuilt what was an entirely missing layer of economic development. And from that, I really learned that at the ground level, people want to know that you're going to support them. You're going to support them by providing the city services that they need. You're going to support them by touting their business and their services, connecting them to customers, connecting them to people that they need to provide the goods and services in order to make their products. You're going to provide them with workers, and you're going to provide their workers with an environment in which they feel safe and which hopefully they'll buy homes. Because an employer who has a happy and active workforce that is skilled and able to do what they need to do in order to move their business to the next level is important. And the most important ingredient in order to do any of that is to listen and to really roll your sleeves up and get down into the weeds as to what they need. And sometimes there's difficult conversations, but so much happens with getting permits, going to public hearings, working with landlords who might be a little disingenuous about certain rate structures. All of that is a hands-on approach where when the small businesses know that you're their partner, it makes their confidence level increase. At the very end of this very long road, which could be years, could be months, is the actual ribbon cutting. But so much more goes into it before you ever get to that point.
Great. Thank you.
Can I just have you repeat the question, because I want to make sure I get...
Yep, the question was, small businesses are the lifeline of the community and the chamber. Why should small business owners support your campaign?
Okay, so I did hear it right. I think first we should support small businesses. So I want to, I guess, answer it by saying what we have done for small businesses. First, we put an innovative loan program together. So instead of just giving grants that are, free money to these businesses, we've actually put a loan program, low interest rate loan. Many of these new small businesses don't have the ability to get bank financing. So this loan is made to them through funds from ECD. And once they pay half of that loan back, they are forgiven the rest of it, and we know that they're a successful business at that point. That was a brand new program over the last couple of years, and that program has worked very well to bring a lot of small businesses in. We have other grants, like a small business grant, facade improvement grant, and we've had these for a long time in ECD. I think, the one thing that I did, and I think I got picked on it earlier, is that, photo op Jeff, if you want to call me, but I've had more ribbon cuttings than any other mayor, and there's a reason that I do that, because I want to go support our businesses. I've used social media not to tell people what my plan is in the future, but what is actually happening in town. And I'm out there promoting businesses constantly, and I think that's what the mayor should do. Not only am I a salesman, I think I'm one of the best cheerleaders this town has ever had, because I love this town and I want to see it be successful.
Great.
The mayor is the chief municipal officer of a $243.6 million business. And I think that that is the focus. In addition to lower rents and marketing assistance, I do want to just reiterate what I said earlier. There's a 22% vacancy rate, so pursuing regulatory issues in order to force landlords and building owners who have empty buildings for tax purposes is another goal that I was pursuing prior to 2021, and that is something that I think I would take up again.
Great, thank you. It's funny because the next question on the list says, why do you want to be mayor? But I want to ask that question a different way because you've both held the office, right? Mm-hmm. So you've chosen to go in front of people, to take the slings and arrows, to do all the things for the town you love. Take us back to what inspired you to get into public service? Who, what, where, something, let us know a little bit more about you and why you're here tonight.
My mother. She gave back every chance that she had, and she was a great lady that was giving. She unfortunately passed at a young age, and you know, I've always been in the background. So I was actually RTC chairman. As I said, I was on the Board of Education, which is a great experience, and I've just continued along. I actually never intended on becoming mayor. COVID changed a lot for a lot of people. We didn't have a candidate. I loved running the Republican Town Committee, and we had great city council people. And as most people here know, that without a good mayoral lead, the city council is kind of left out there floundering. So I had life circumstance changes, which we all do, and my business model kind of changed quite a bit. I went from traveling quite a bit and having face-to-face conversations with people to a Zoom existence. And that Zoom existence is not good for me. I need to interact with people. So the opportunity came, and I took it. I don't think the chances for me winning 4 years ago were that great when I first announced. But I will say, and because this is a debate, I want people to go out and look at what was accomplished in the previous 4 years before me, and then what's been accomplished in the last 4 years. Things that you can actually see and feel. And I am very proud that I am not only seeing it, I am working, living, and playing in our downtown that has been a ghost town for 64 years. And she's going to put her head down again, but it is true.
Great. Thank you. Ellen?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. What's the role model, the inspirational moment, the thing in your life that led you to get into public service?
Well, you know, I started going to meetings when I was 10, and I think I enjoyed the impact that local government has on every person, where you can make an immediate effect and change someone's life, whether it's explaining a traffic program to them or helping them get benefits or helping them just understand a process. That's why I like local government. But I will tell you that today is actually one of those days when I think back about trying to prepare for tonight. I ended up going to bring my cousin, that I'm a conservator for, to the Root clinic because he needed his methadone. And we have a large amount of people in this town who are affected by the opioid crisis, my family being one of them. And he's doing great, but he's doing great because we have supports within the community. And as I was doing that, my friend Sarah called and said, I know Ed keeps bothering you from Sheridan Woods because his pajama pants ripped. I'm at Walmart. Can I help you? Can I get them for you? And I said, thank God. Ed is alone at Sheridan Woods, and I've been visiting him for a couple of years now, and he, and just like all the other residents, think they're part of our community, and I believe they deserve to be treated like that as well, which is why so many of us worked so hard to keep them open. And I think they're going to. From what I understand from my contacts at the state, there is a very viable business that's going to keep them open. And then I helped a senior today because she didn't understand services. And those are the points. Those are the touch points that all of us have to do. And if every one of us did them, then this community would be even stronger than it already is.
Great. Thank you both. In a moment, we're going to go to your closing statements.
I didn't get my rebuttal.
Not a rebuttal
Okay.
about what got you into life. Sorry.
Well, they put 30 seconds
I'm
on
going to use
so.
the moderate. Yeah, she left time too. Okay. Do your rebuttal and your closing statement.
All right, no, it's fine.
Just remind everybody, first of all, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for your participation, for your good decorum. Reminder that if this wasn't fun enough, it's going to start airing on Nutmeg TV, so you can watch us over and over and over again until you cast your vote, which could be, I guess, tomorrow. Is it open? Is there early voting in Bristol?
Yep.
Yes.
10 to
Oh,
6.
you can go out tomorrow
Everywhere
and
over the
make
state,
your
yeah.
decision, right? Thank you on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, everyone. We will do closing statements if it's okay with the candidates. Being that you got to go first to start, I'm going to ask you to go first on your closing so Ellen can have the last word.
That's fair enough. Thank you again for the Chamber for giving us a voice. While knocking doors this year, the message from Bristol residents was clear. They feel like they have a voice, and they appreciate the change that occurred 4 years ago. According to the DTC, I'm just a salesman, but I think that's literally just what we needed for downtown revitalization, and I want to move that forward to the other neighborhoods, and we've talked a little bit about that. We need to move past that. 4 years ago, we were concerned about morale in City Hall. One of the things I'm most proud of is today, everyone in City Hall is working hard for you, the people. I'm a leader that will hold people accountable, but I've also encouraged people and employees to perform their job without micromanaging them. It's clearly why we have been getting stuff done in this city. Please ask your friends at City Hall what they think of the new work environment. The private projects that are coming right now are driving real grand list growth. And as the former mayor said, it does take time. It will gradually stabilize our tax base. We have a plan. There are dozens of projects underway, and the last acre and a half of that empty city land where the mall once stood will be sold very soon to a developer, and that will end a 20-year-long history of all of us owning that property. Chick Miller Chevrolet, I didn't get to announce that before. It's finally coming down. And she talked about how I did give that New Jersey owner who didn't care about his blight a hard time in the West End. But we have it moving. Forestville's going to come, and just tonight we had a CIP Strategic Planning Committee meeting. Some of you in the audience were there. We're putting together a long-term plan for the city of Bristol, which has never been done. The mayor mentioned the West End plan and some of these things before. You remember Bristol Rising. We need an active plan that is continually working. So on November 4th, I think the choice is clear. If you like what's happening in this even bigger small town now, I want you to cast a vote for not just me, but the entire Republican team that has delivered results instead of rhetoric.
Great. Thank you. Ellen?
So I think that a lot of the issues that we've talked about tonight are really important, but there's a couple that we haven't hit on. And one thing that I would like to point out is that over the past, I think, 3 years, the U.S. housing markets have changed dramatically, but in the North, it has not. We are continuing to see limited housing supply. Relative affordability is key up here, but there's not enough places for people to live. So when I think about ESPN and I think about all the jobs at the hospital, some of which could possibly be at risk right now, we need to think about making it affordable. And I don't mean affordable in terms of congregate housing and what always gets panned because we don't want that type of person in Bristol. Those type of people are already here. And the Alice report that the United Way puts out talks about our income-constrained yet employed people who are here. Being mayor is more than being a cheerleader. It's making sure that people have basic needs, that they have housing, that they have job access, that they have transportation to those jobs, and that the social safety net is intact. And I think that, especially with the lessons of COVID, we did that very well. It wasn't just rhetoric. It was us out on the street every day making sure that people were taken care of. I also think that we need to balance the market rate units that are coming in with ones that are more affordable. And I will just say that Bhugresh Patel, who owns Chick Miller, is probably one of the most honorable people I know. And he does not deserve the way he's been treated by this administration in order to get a photo op out of what, and in fact, is a long-term litigation project that has occupied the New Jersey Appellate Court for over 14 years. But to me, it's that long game. It's always the long game and how we can work with people like Bhugresh and get it over the finish line, no matter who the mayor is, no matter what that administration is. But cleaning up that building is something that we'll all be proud of once it happens.
Wow, she really beat that a lot. Thank you both. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Hey there, Dr. Rich from Nutmeg TV. Convert your old tapes, slides, films, and photos to digital or DVD. Makes a great gift from Santa for as low as $9.99. Call 860-321-7405 or visit nutmegtv.com. Mention promo code Santa and get 20% off.
Hi, I'm Jay McCormick, a board director at Nutmeg TV, your local public TV station right here in Farmington. Nutmeg TV has been an integral part of our community for over 30 years, providing a platform for residents to share stories, voice concerns, and celebrate achievements. It's a vital resource that connects us all, bringing countless local events to our TV screens. The topics are limitless and vary from being aware of scams to veterans helping veterans. Nutmeg TV continues to be here for the community. To continue this important work, we're asking for your support through a donation. Your contribution will ensure that Nutmeg TV remains a robust and relevant resource for our community. Thank you for supporting Nutmeg TV. Together, we can continue to amplify the voices and stories that make our community unique and vibrant.
To make a donation, simply visit our website at nutmegtv.com or call the office at 860-321-7405 for assistance.
When we think of an iconic New England town green, we think of the place where people got together and maybe heard some music, heard someone give a speech, maybe get an award. Times have changed, but the digital town green still brings all those stories, all those voices back to a central location. Nutmeg TV has been providing community television for over 30 years. We provide great facilities and training and equipment to allow anyone to come in and produce TV programming for the community.
Whether you're a college student looking to get into this industry or a senior citizen looking to learn a new skill set, we've made our equipment accessible to anybody.
Nutmeg TV is a family, and we embrace diversity, and we work with folks from all walks of life. And it's our job to make these studios available for anyone to use. We educate folks in how to do TV production, podcasting, etc., and so they can go on to other careers in the TV business. Nutmeg TV is really blessed to have a great group of folks who work here. We have a culture at Nutmeg TV that is set from the moment you walk in the door for positivity all day long. Each and every day, we are affecting the community in which we live. We needed some studio upgrades, and we were able to get a grant with the state of Connecticut, but we needed that extra bit of cash in order to get over the hump. As you know, technology is very costly, and we needed to do that. And Ion Bank believed in us. They believed in us. They believed in the project. They came down, they took a look at what we needed, and they said, you know what, we can help get you the rest of the way. As a result of Ion Bank's financial help, we've been able to help others move on in a field that's difficult to get experience in. It's very important when you're a business that works in the community and for the community that you're working with partners who understand who you are. And Ion Bank does that. They walk with us every day. Community is important, and Ion gets community, and they get Nutmeg TV. It's community banking at its best.